Hello, everybody. Welcome to the following podcast from Darkness to Light Radio Podcast and Perfectly Imperfection Podcast, as well as my podcast, A Happier You Leads to a Healthier You. I'm your host, Goddess Asha Mariama. I appreciate you guys for joining me for this episode. If you guys like the commentary on YouTube, please go to From Darkness to Light and also to Perfectly Imperfection Radio Podcast. And also on Spreaker.com, you can go to A Happier You Leads to a Healthier You Radio Podcast. I'm your host, as y'all know, Goddess Ashanette Mariana. I appreciate y'all for joining me for these episodes. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and notification button on YouTube and my other platforms as well. I am a certified recovery, healing, and recovery and addiction coach. It's all about helping people with their addictions and their paths to a new and better you through self discovery, helping people in multiple facets of healing and recovery from spiritual, mental, psychological, emotional, internal, and external when it comes to your physical health, as far as external, your financial and relationships. These two particular podcasts are very different. Perfectly Imperfections is also on Spreaker.com as well. And From Darkness to Light is also on there as well. So this will also be on my vocal podcast as well. But these podcasts are all different. From Darkness to Light is going down the rabbit hole, and you meet the Cheshire Cat following the rabbit down the rabbit hole. You meet all these different characters, and they lead you astray, lead you into very dark places, very negative situations, and now you have to find your way out. And by the time you do, you have to face the consequences, the repercussions, and karma before it determines whether you go into the light or whether you go into darkness. Perfectly Imperfection is all about your insecurities and you being, but your flaws and your imperfections. It's all about that. It's all about the fact of the matter, nobody's perfect. No one is. Um, the fact that people think that they are better than someone else is crazy to me. I think that everybody is different in their own way. I think that people, you know, no one should be judged because of their external, and people thinking that because you're not externally beautiful, that you're not someone that's worthy, which is beyond crazy to me because I don't really understand that at all. But I do know I've been having internet issues the past couple of days. I may have to have them come back out here to check the internet because I've been having a lot of internet issues the past, few days. So hopefully we won't have any problems today. At least I hope not. So I'm gonna play y'all this particular converse. This is a summit for our CRPS, and my happier you leads to a healthier you is also going on there as well. That podcast is all about health and wellness recovery. So this particular summit is going on multiple different um, podcasts, but the reason it's important because there are millions of people that suffer from chronic pain. There are millions of people that go through this every single day, and I figured that it is time that we sit down and we have a conversation, and we also, try to talk about it. So today we are going to listen to or and watch the summit that my friend Charles Maddox did about chronic pain and CRPS and the doctors that specialize in CRPS. I thought it was very informative. You guys didn't get to see the whole entire summit, but today I'm going to go ahead and play the whole entire summit. So I'm going to share my screen, and then I'm going to mute myself and then share my screen, let it play, and I'm come back periodically and check to make sure because for some reason I've been having, some internet issues. So I just wanted to make sure everything is good. So with that being said, let's get started on this summit, And I hope you guys enjoy it. And I'll come back in the end so you guys can basically, we can do the basically ending far as the podcast. And I'll tell you all my thoughts on it. So let's get started.
CRPS and pain issues and we know even mental health is to play with some of the things that we're dealing with. So we brought on some amazing experts. I know Sanjita, I'll ask you to talk. We were talking together, Sanjita, the other day about and you can go ahead and unmute Sanjita. Yeah.
Okay.
We, we were talking the other day about how pain plays a role with mental health, and I would love for you to kind of expound upon
Okay. Well, thank you. That's perfect. Put me on the spot.
that.
Yeah, I think that, actually, if you look at all conditions, they have a component of, spiritual trauma, emotional trauma, and then physical manifestations. And when we start to help people or try to help people with things, we often very much focus on the physical pieces and what physical things we can do. And we realize from all of the data that's coming out in quantum physics, from heart math, from all the big Ivy League universities, if we want to believe the data, but we know that our thoughts can influence how we experience something. And so that's just an aspect, because obviously when we have pain, we end up with more anxiety and depression and all kinds of mental emotions and heart emotions. It's painful. And to reverse that, we really have to accept that there's certain ways we can flip the switch. And maybe later on in this conversation, I'll lead us through a little exercise that's been proven by the Heart Math Institute over about 3 decades, to be able to reverse any kind of situation that we're dealing with, because the reversal doesn't come from here. It comes from the emotions that we hold here. Um, how long do you want me to keep going? But I think, this is a good spot to have anybody who has tried something that is non-physical necessarily, to help with their CRPS or their pain, or any of the pain coaches that are on board. What are some of the things that you've tried that have really helped? Because for me, the heart math, visualization, guided imagery, all of those things add to the picture. They don't necessarily work all on their own, but they add to the picture. And I can see that Dr. Brad Nelson, who's really a very big expert in this area and wrote the
Yeah,
emotion code and the heart code,
yeah,
he's on board. And I think if I could just ask him to chime in here, that would be really great.
yeah, that would be great. If we can get Dr. Brad Nelson, we're actually working on a documentary with Dr. Brad Nelson. Very excited about that.
Dr. Brad will be on shortly,
Oh,
Charles. He's not
okay,
on yet. He's
okay,
just finishing a summit and a seminar in Vegas, and he's doing the closing remarks, but he'll be on shortly. And this is his field. He's an expert. But we do have Dr. Luba here, Dr. Luba Dianger,
yeah,
and she focuses on all the spectrum of the body, including the emotions, and the aspect of pain that we're talking about here, coming from and causing trauma, is really important. So she has a device that deals with the vibrational or energy healing, and it works on all levels. And I'm someone who's experienced it and believe that it's one of the most amazing things that I have ever come across. So I'd just like to introduce Dr. Luba. She worked with NASA for many years, and it's Monocore USA. I did put it in the chat, monocoreusa.com.
and just to be, we do have some great people on board who also have devices too as well and other treatment modalities. But I wanted those who are living with CRPS to be able to understand or pain that there are many things out there for them. So we wanted to kind of introduce some of these so that they would be able to maybe find someone in their local area or try a new device or sort of form of treatment. So Dr.
And
Luba would love to hear a little bit more about the device and what you're doing and your passion.
Yes, Manicore technology. It's turning 25-year-old this year. So it's not like a new technology. It just being manufactured in the United States. It's an American device now. It's been manufactured we have a FDA registration for Manicore, a few patented technology. We have a very sophisticated software. It's like an AI type software. We got 5 those programs. And this is device which makes decision on its own. So the operator doesn't make a decision. And device assess the person. And then the device also generate frequencies. We don't have a library of frequencies. The device will, based on a very complex calculation, it will generate the frequencies or hundreds of frequencies that the person needed individual for that particular individual to remove the pain. It doesn't matter if it's a physical or emotional, which was correctly pointed out. So the device could be as precise as a 5 digits after the point. So with that procedure, we do a tremendous calibration for each device, each unit. And those devices works very accurately.
oh, you got muted.
Yeah, please unmute for a second.
Dr. Liu?
Yeah, just unmute. Unmute, Ann.
So while she's looking to unmute, I guess one question I do want to put out there is, how important is the belief system of the person in terms of whether or not they believe that they can be pain-free?
Yeah, I think
If they're locked into this thought process, can these machines and devices make, how does that impact things? Because what I found in practice is, this whole thing about placebo effect is 100% correct. We program ourselves for results. Programs are in the subconscious, and that's why I think things like emotion code or heart code, things that work in areas that we're not conscious of, are really important.
so.
And methods like HeartMath, like program ourselves to not have pain. We have to believe that it can happen.
It definitely
Otherwise,
plays,
we wake up in the morning thinking about which shoulder's hurting, right?
Right.
definitely
And
plays a role.
CRPS is nerve hypersensitivity and neuroinflammation, right? It all starts in the brain, the chemical, the neurosynaptic nerve endings, those postsynaptic nerve endings firing up. There's things in our environment that interfere with how our brain functions in our day to day. We have constant bombarding of different toxic chemicals from our foods, from our waters, from polypharma, right? And it also causes all the microvascular dysfunctions, right? And what happens is the body gets stuck in a constant pain mode with inflammation, immune dysfunction, and damaged mitochondria. And you have so many people, so many of the consumers, people right now, they're complaining of pain of something. And pain is really inflammation. It's inflammation of where? Where's the inflammation coming from? And how do we address it? How do we go and fix what our toxic environment is bombarding us with? And a lot of people aren't aware, they're just aware of the conventional treatments like with opiates and anticonvulsants and nerve blocks, right? But that's just short-lived and it's a band-aid for a boo-boo. It's not getting to the root cause of the issue. So it's teaching and educating a community of people that want answers, and people are waking up. The patients are getting smarter because now you can look at the collective going to AI for answers because doctors are failing them, right? This is why MAHA is such a big thing right now. And it's not just MAHA, it's the world. We have a pandemic of chronically inflamed individuals hungry for solutions outside of the opiates and the anticonvulsants and the nerve blocks that have a longer list of side effects than benefits, because all it does is it degenerates and continues to degenerate the body. So, you know, some of the things that I help my doctors with, and as well as, you know, in my clinics with my medical staff, we use solutions like exosomes or peptides and stem cells. So we come from it from a more regenerative and functional solution, looking exactly, doing the laboratory work, seeing exactly where someone is deficient in X, Y, and Z, and then putting that X, Y, and Z back in your body. And most often, you know, you see that someone's not, they don't have enough of the stem cells. They don't have enough of those nanonized vessels that release stem cells. And they don't have enough of the, you know, messenger packages that help the body to regenerate, because we really are superhuman. We just need to put all of those tools back in our body to be able to get rid of, you know, the symptoms that come with CRPS, right?
Hey, Jenny, let me get back to Dr. Luba so she can finish off what she was saying regarding, because I know she's on limited time. We'll get you right back
Yes,
on.
where did
Dr.
she
Luba,
go?
can you finish off,
Yeah,
Dr. Luba?
yeah, yes, yes. The goal of our company and all our software is to eliminate the guesswork, why the person has a pain or why the person gets anxiety, whether it's old trauma, you know, physical or emotional trauma, PTSD. It doesn't matter. It's all generates in the brain, like the people said, and it generates in any of those 52 areas of the brain, according to Dr. Brodman. So our device, Manicure USA and software, are actually eliminating guesswork. It's pinpoint. We have a patented technology that pinpoint exactly where the pain originating, or where the anxiety originates, or where depression originates, and it's correct by itself. We've seen 25, it's 25 minutes, sometimes even faster, sometimes 30 minutes. So it's eliminate for good that type of thoughts. That's why people even experience emotional release. Some of them start crying, or some feeling a lot of calmness like they never felt before, because we're trying to be, because for patient you need to be very quick. All the thing what you do, you need to be fast solving solutions, and need to be very effective, and need to be as permanent as possible. And that's what we're specializing in, to write a special programs for and provide the treatment for the people with anxiety or PTSD or pain in anywhere in the body. Right now, we have hundreds of thousands of people in the last 25 years. They've been tested and treated, and we got about 90% result, positive result. Some only very few pain, like couldn't eliminate because it's related to structural damage of the person, but everything which originates in the brain, it's pinpointed, it's indicated exactly where the pain is, so you could read on the screen, you know where it is, and it's eliminated without operator in the intervention. And that's the key, is that we eliminate decision making from the operator. We go in with extreme precision to eliminate the problem of the person. It goes very deep layers, and every day it will create for the same person different group of frequencies. It creates, it doesn't pull existing frequencies. So it's really beyond just a frequency treatment, because we work with endogenous frequencies that other devices do not work. This is our patented technology. It's our tested, well-tested technology. That's why it's so effective. And that's what I would like to point out.
Thank you, Dr. Luba. Thank you. Matt, are you there?
I'm here, but my camera just totally froze. Hopefully you can hear me.
I'd love to hear, and we've got Dr. Brad Nelson, who I'm so glad that he's on. We're going to bring him up real soon. We are doing an amazing documentary on Dr. Brad and some of his energy work that he's done. You might be familiar with his work, and he's got a new book coming out too as well. We've got Dr. Carl Felds up too as well. We've got Dr. Rhodes. We've got Stefan, who has the Scrambler, and Dr. Rhodes, who has the Vector machine, who I've seen that do wonderful things too as well. So Matt, I'd love for you to share a little bit about your CRPS. Give me about a minute of your CRPS journey so people could understand what you've dealt with and where you're at now.
I hope you can still hear me because Zoom may be in the middle
We
of
can.
crashing on me.
We
Okay,
can.
so for myself, October the 1st will actually be 10 years for me. And the way it originally started with a non-union break, I ended up having multiple ligament tears, had an Achilles tear, had an MCL tear, and essentially shredded my leg overall. A big part of my first 3 years of my life really were trying to figure out how to just survive within myself, how to be a father to young children, how to essentially deal with losing my athletic career. I was playing at a provincial level in Canada and was a ranked player and had a lot really going for me within a corporate career. And you do everything right and you expect everything right to be in your life. And then all of a sudden at 33 years old, it's just gone. And you're having to figure out a whole new life of, okay, I have this now with me. And my first 3 years were just mental anguish and living in loss and living in fear. And I finally started to come out of the shadows and I realized the link between my own mental health and my chronic pain. I was feeding my own PTSD, I was feeding my own anxiety, and I was causing my own pain to be that much higher based on something that I could control myself. And I had to choose at that time to either let CRPS take over or to live with CRPS at my side. And in the end, while it was my worst of enemies, at my first 3 years, I comfortably overtook it, I would say, as a demon. And it actually became a best friend to me. I choose to live with pain in my life. I choose to live as an advocate now. Not every day is perfect. Not everything behind the scenes is always great. I'm like everybody else, and I have my days where I'm really just stuck on the couch and can't lift more than a finger. But when I do bounce back and I have my energy behind me, it's literally for myself, it's for community, it's for connection. And then I've chosen to use CRPS kind of as my piece that I break down barriers for people with others who are new into the disability world or kind of going through life changes that they had least expected. And to show that you do have a comfortable way forward with friends and family at your side and just how to really speak and own your condition that you live with. So in the end, that's kind of who I am within my CRPS world and who I am as an advocate.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Can I ask a question? This is Sangeeta. Can you?
Absolutely.
I mean, thank you so much for sharing that because obviously that's the core of why we're here. Can you tell us if there's any one thing that you felt that is something simple, not a device, not a supplement, that really, really got you on a better path, if there is any such thing?
For myself, it really came down to family. I knew I was comfortable within conversation and I knew my best way around it because I do have a background within pharmaceuticals and having such a retail focus towards pharmacy and conditioning and everything. For me, it really came down to looking at my kids and I needed to be the hero dad again. And I needed to really look myself in the mirror and say, I'm okay with this. I need my kids to be okay with it. I need them to still see me as like the champion dad, even though I might not be able to run around anymore. I had to learn how to reparent my kids at 5 and 7 years old, and it gave me entire perspective. I would say that
I
that's my biggest takeaway to everything. CRPS literally gave me perspective on my life and actually made me a better person in the end.
Powerful, man.
Yeah, I love that because
And my
it's easy
camera
to
comes
get.
back on.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to get
It's
lost,
done.
lost in the whole device thing, which I know I'm part of some cancer groups and things, and our clinic treats a lot of different things. And sometimes we get, we're using frequency devices and we're using all these things, but I was really happy to hear social connection because even Harvard just proved that social connection is your only one major factor that is controlling our longevity and health. So thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that.
I'd
Thank
love
you.
to bring on Dr. Brad Nelson right now. Brad, I'm a big fan of your work. Even Chris is here right now, who shot some of your footage in Poland, and I'd love to have you unmute too as well. Before Brad, we ask you some questions here, and so you could share with the audience. Because once again, we're going to get everybody on. We're going to make sure everybody participates. Chris, tell us a little bit about what you experienced watching Dr. Brad and some of his work.
Okay, hello everybody. So yeah, hey Brad.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah, it was super touching. Generally, I'm super open for everything what is more holistic based and more alternative, let's say. But of course, I knew the method of Bradley a little because I had some experience from Costa Rica where I used to live. And I had one of student of Bradley who make a treatment on me some time ago, and it was very powerful. But I wasn't even aware that this is the same method, so I was shocked when I get this proposal to make a recordings during this workshops, and yeah, it was amazing experience. It's very touching to see how many people get healed and change their perspective, and some of them were healed, some of them started to be healers, and for me was the most touching that I could discover and experience that all of us have this ability to support each others and be a healers to each others, and get these tools which are available for everyone. And I love the approach of Dr. Bradley, that he's sharing it fully, not hide anything, and we could experience that it's possible faster sometimes than we expect, that it's only this is possible. Of course, the conditions of everyone are different, as I understand, and it could be like a karmic version, or like many things needs to happen in one moment. Yeah, but I could discover that for many people it was like a life-changing situation. So
Thank you.
it was very, very touching.
Thank you.
May I jump in here, Charles, real quick?
Yes.
I want to piggyback off what you just shared. My name is Jay, and I intentionally wore the shirt "Choose Hope." And the reason I did was I've lived with chronic pain now for over a decade, and for me, the word hope, the acronym for the word hope that came through just a couple of months ago is this: healing our perspective every day. Because so much of what happens is we get hijacked, we get taken hostage by a diagnosis, and then we believe everything that the experts say. And all I will share with every single one of you is that I received diagnosis, but I didn't let that take me out. I didn't let that create me living in bondage. Instead, I believed it was possible, that through the mindset and believing it's possible and changing our perspective, we can change our relationship with pain. And so, for someone like me who's got, for example, I live with chronic pain in my right leg. I've got no arteries in my right leg left. My right leg should be amputated. But I didn't accept that diagnosis from Western medicine. Instead, I took action through nutrition, through the mindset, and through movement, that it would be possible to hike or climb the tallest mountains in Sedona without an artery in my leg and in pain. And I've accomplished that. And that really helped me accept the truth that when we change our perspective, we change our life. And so much of that we do have control over. So I just wanted to put that out there, Charles.
Thank you, Jay. Jay is one of our
Yes, sir.
hosts for today. He's been a great friend of mine for some time. Want to say hi to Janet Bernard. Her daughter was actually featured in our first series, Trial by Fire, and she was an amazing young woman. Felice, I see you. Dr. Brad, you're hearing a lot of this. I would love to hear your thoughts and have you share a little bit about yourself and about the emotion code and the new heart code coming out. And if you don't know who Dr. Bradley Nelson is, you have to know him. His work is amazing. So you have the floor, Dr. Brad.
Sure. Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Well, I made the mistake of taking a computer programming class in 1980 and became a computer programmer back in the early days of the personal computer revolution. And when I became a doctor, it slowly began to dawn on me that with every patient that I was seeing, I was actually dealing with a computer of sorts. And so within each one of us is a subconscious mind. And that's the part of us that is keeping our heart beating, creating millions of new cells every minute, running trillions of chemical reactions constantly, keeping us alive from one moment to the next. And I gradually learned in my practice that that internal computer can be communicated with. It's a binary computer in terms of its interface, which means it can answer yes or no questions. And so my whole work has been to develop, to really figure out what this internal code of the subconscious mind is, so that anyone can learn this language of the internal computer, ask questions and get answers, and determine exactly what it is, what's really going on in the body. Because you see, when we have symptoms, and the most common symptom, of course, is pain. And when we have symptoms, and especially pain, that's really the body's way of communicating to us that there's something else that needs attention. Now, in Western medicine, the pain is the symptom and the symptom is the problem. And so the symptom will be attempted to be addressed through, usually through some kind of a pharmaceutical that will suppress that symptom. But that's kind of like, putting a piece of tape over the check engine light in your car so it doesn't bother you anymore. Meanwhile, something else is really wrong. And that's how our bodies work. And so what we have found is that 90% of the physical pain that people experience, not 100%, but about 90%, is actually due to emotional energy. Now, to understand this, you have to realize, of course, that the body itself is really nothing but a very complex energy field. If you look at the body, use a big enough microscope and keep zooming in, you're looking pretty soon at an individual cell, and then at an individual molecule, and then at an atom, and you look in the atom and there's really nothing in there. It's just empty space and some little infinitesimally tiny energies bouncing around. And that's really what we are. We're beings of pure energy. Well, when you are feeling an emotion, if you think about that in quantum terms, what you're feeling is a particular vibration. Tesla said, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And that's what everything in the universe is actually made out of. And so when you're experiencing an emotion, you're experiencing a certain frequency of energy. And sometimes we don't process those emotional experiences that we go through. Sometimes we bury the emotion. Sometimes we artificially enhance the emotion. Sometimes the emotion is just overwhelming. And so in those cases, the energy of that emotion can become trapped in the body. And we've seen countless cases now, all over the world. I mean, we've certified over 15,000 people now in this method. And we don't really know how many others, hundreds of thousands or maybe even millions that are using this method and are we're all finding the same thing, that that pain is mostly caused by these emotional energies. Now, again, not all pain, but 90% of it. And so, the beauty of this is that it's easy for anybody to learn this process. The entire method is published in the Emotion Code book. The body code is another method, actually, that includes the emotion code. The emotion code is just about finding emotional baggage. The body code teaches us how to find. It's the rest of the code, if you will, of the subconscious mind. So it enables us to find things like misalignments that can also cause pain, and different kinds of pathogens and toxins and imbalances in the organs and the glands and the circuitry of the body, and disconnections between the spirit and the physical body, all kinds of things. But anyway, that's kind of in a nutshell what this work is about, that I've been involved in for all these years. And but we've seen lots and lots of people with CRPS get well and get rid of the pain, and often it can happen in really short order. So I would absolutely agree with what Jay said, that if you get a diagnosis, remember that, well, in my own practice, for example, during the last 10 years of my practice, most of the people that I saw have been told there was no hope for them at all in Western medicine. They'd never get well. But when a doctor tells you, when a medical doctor tells you that you're incurable, what's he or she really saying? Well, what they're saying is, we can't fix this with drugs or surgery. And those are the only two things really that they have in their bag. And so, but there's a whole world of other ways to deal with CRPS and other conditions that I'm so glad that that this event here is happening to give people that know about other methods a little bit of a voice. Thank you for putting this together.
Thank you, Dr. Brad Nelson. We've got a question. Where is Dr. Nelson's clinic or training location online? From Galaxy S25 Ultra.
Yeah, it's you can go to discoverhealing.com. That's our website, discoverhealing.com. And we have certification there in many languages. It's online. We do also occasionally do live trainings. We have 3 levels of certification. Emotion code is level 1, level 2 is body code, level 3 is belief code, where we find negative belief systems that are in the subconscious and get rid of those. But certification basically is for people who really want to master this or who want to do it for a living. But remember that the entire method is published in the Emotion Code book, and the vast bulk of it is also published in the Body Code book. And so you can learn the Emotion Code. You can start practicing it tomorrow on yourself. And you may find that it's everything that people claim it to be. It works really, really well. It's really, really simple too. It's simple enough that kids can do it. But yet it's very, very powerful, because it really is emotional baggage that causes so much trouble. It's the number one common denominator for all kinds of things, all kinds of problems.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dr. Nelson, can I ask you something?
Sure.
This is Sangeeta, and I love your work. I was wondering, if somebody can't make it to one of your practitioners,
Mhm.
is there something that can empower them that they can do within their own house and just themselves that would be along the line of empowering them to flip that belief, that emotion, that whatever it is, without a practitioner involved?
Oh, well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, first of all, this is energy medicine at its purest and most simple. And so it does not require geographical proximity. Most of our practitioners work on other people that are in other countries, many of whom they'll never actually even meet, but many of whose lives they will have changed. So no, you don't have to be there. That's one thing. So you know, you may find, if you go to discoverhealing.com, you can see a list of practitioners all over the world. It's a Google map. But and you can find somebody there if you're looking for somebody. But the other thing too is that it's simple enough. They can get the book for $20 or less. You might find it in a library and, you know, go read it for free. And the methodology, it's all in there. And so you can learn the whole thing for yourself right from that.
Yeah, because I would say we've seen people who haven't used per se certain treatments and have literally cured themselves from CRPS. So we know it can be done. I wanted to, don't go anywhere real quick. We want to try to get to a few people. We've got Daniel, IGC, Warriors for CRPS. We've got some great people around the country and we're so excited. Hopefully we'll get more people on next time. But Daniel, give us about a 2-minute version of your story and where you're at now with CRPS, and then we'll bring Sherry in.
Sure. And something spoke to me while you were talking, Dr. Nelson. So I'll introduce myself and then I'll say what I was gonna say in conjunction with what everybody's saying, really. First and foremost, my name is Danielle. I have been living with CRPS and fighting the good fight for, I think I'm hitting year 15 as officially diagnosed, but I'm in like year 23 before we knew what was going on. And it's been quite a ride. And I talk about this in the filming of the documentary. I had every creative job known to man, from doing balloon animals 5 nights a week, teaching theater, stand-up comedy. I did makeup artistry for years, photography, even ballroom dance, the works. And now living with CRPS, I have bipedal, which is both legs for those who don't know, and in my left arm. I'm one of the few people who actually got my CRPS. I crushed my sciatic nerve by blowing out my back. I was completely paralyzed for 24 hours before the doctors at Barrow Neurological saved me. And that was after 6 years of complaining of low back pain and just being pushed drugs, muscle relaxers, pain medication, lose weight, all of it. And then I got weight loss surgery to save my back, thinking I've got to lose the weight. That's what all the doctors are saying. Only for that to sort of spiral into creating so many other issues with my body. I actually needed a revision surgery, and the doctors lost my IV line in Texas. And during a botched PICC line placement, they severed my median nerve. And immediately, the CRPS that had never moved for 15 years shot up to my arm. I knew, like, in a heartbeat, this is not good. I lost full functionality of my left arm. It was not good. So I've been this way with that nerve injury in my arm for, that happened in 2021. Yeah, during the pandemic. But in all of this, I discovered, I do ketamine therapy. I do a lot of music therapy, where I listen to music, and I listen to music that has a low thumb to it. And if you have this beat, it almost, somebody who understands a little bit more about energy work could probably explain there's something that happens to the rhythm in your body that you start to feel it. And I feel like more people need to start listening to lo-fi music and music with that low bass, and you will, somebody just put it in the chat, you will feel a difference in your body, and it is quite incredible. So Dr. Nelson, something that I wanted to say with you and with everybody else who's sharing is, I think the missing link from patient and expert, and I'm not saying, please understand everybody, I'm not saying a patient cannot be an expert, because we are the experts, let's be honest. But the difference from being patient to expert is understanding that the only way we live with our CRPS as a backseat passenger and not the one driving the car is multiple intelligences. We have to get it mind, body, soul, everything.
Yeah.
And I think the piece that I really want to put out there is for all the patients who are struggling. Sorry,
You got this, Danielle.
today was a really rough day.
You got this,
Um,
Danielle. You got this. You got this.
The PTSD that we have developed has caused us to flip a switch where we don't trust the professionals who are supposed to be helping us. So it's very hard to give up control, as somebody stated in the comments. And it's hard for us to, it's not as easy as thinking positive. And I say it that lightly, and because that's sort of how people brush it off. And it's not a matter of think positive and your pain goes away. It's a matter of, if we sit here and focus on our PTSD and we focus on that negativity, we create our own spiral. And the only way to get out of that spiral is for us to move. We have to say, this isn't helping, but we also need professionals and other patients to understand, and other, sorry, deep breath.
Yeah.
Other patients, other advocates, professionals, experts, is that, yes, we are going to think positively in order to help, because today I have the ability to think positively out of this. But tomorrow, I'm going to need my pain medication more than my thinking positive. And the next day, I'm going to have my music. And some days, I'm not going to need any of it because I have the laughter of friends. And I think the piece in some of these summits that is often, for lack of better words, lost, is that we think, we, the patients, the people struggling in the moment, we think there's no way I can happy thought my way out of this. And it's that negative pull. But I thank all of you for coming here and saying, this is just a piece.
Yeah.
This doesn't fix it. I'm one of the few people that this is not spontaneous. I have very damaged physical nerves that peripheral nerve specialists have told me there's no fixing what they did to that arm unless we do major reconstructive surgery. Well, let's not do that, right?
Yeah.
There's other things that are happening. And for the patients who are struggling to sit and listen, please keep an open mind and don't listen through the lens of your post-traumatic stress. Take a step outside of the comfort zone of whatever has been working and not working, and give it a shot.
Thank you, Danielle. Thank you. I can tell the passion from you, and I wanted to definitely get you on. And
Thank you.
I'm gonna buy you a copy of Dr. Brad's new book, The Heart Code, and send it to you personally. Okay?
I would love it. I've already looked it up.
Dr. Brad, any thoughts on? And I know you're tied up and made some time. Any thoughts on what she shared, and then we'll let you get out of here.
Well, first of all, Danielle, I'd love to offer you a complimentary session with one of our staff practitioners. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just so interesting. I've been doing this now for 35 or so years, and I've seen so many cases where people shouldn't have recovered, where things looked hopeless, right? And they're just, it just seemed like there's just no way this isn't going to help. You know what I mean? But miraculous, amazing things happen really all the time. And pain still is the number one indicator by the subconscious mind that something is wrong. And we now know how to communicate with that subconscious mind. We now know how to get answers from it, how to ask it directly. You know, is there a reason for this? What's going on? What is the reason? And you know, I would say there's always hope. You know, Western medicine is just limited. You know, Western medicine is great at acute kinds of problems, but as far as chronic things and the kind of thing that you're dealing with, they just really don't have any solutions. But energy medicine is incredibly powerful because we're dealing with the quantum field of the body, and the quantum field can change instantaneously, and it often does. So anyway, I would say, yeah, keep your chin up, and we'll get you a book, and we'll get you a visit with one of our practitioners, one of our staff people too, and you know, let you experience it. Okay.
That would be wonderful. I have to say, one of the things that I try and work on with people is I'm actually working more as a patient advocate, where I talk to patients and how to deal with, if you don't mind my saying so, deal with medical professionals that, you know, a diagnosis is only a word on a piece of paper
Right.
to help you understand some things that are going on so that your invisible illness is visible on paper. That's it.
Yeah.
And I think that if we look at a label and we look at that diagnosis, it's just a diagnosis. It's not a death sentence. And that's why I tell people, please do not Google CRPS. The very first thing you see is suicide disease, and deep breath. It
Right.
doesn't have to go there.
And Daniel, do me a favor, email me and I'll get you over to someone at Dr. Brad's spot,
Sure.
so you can get some of that energy work too.
Charles,
That-
you're recording, so we'll be sending it out.
Yeah.
A few people have asked for the recording.
Perfect. Dr. Brad, thank you. I don't know if you could hang in
Thank you.
a bit more, but you have been amazing, and thanks for making the time. I know he just got back from
Yeah,
Europe.
I just wanted to comment before doctor go away, that we had an example, very good example of like this pain also during this workshop in Warsaw, when they came the lady who said to us that she have a feeling for years of like burning of the whole skin, like she's whole burning, and just it was, and Bradley was quite not serious. I felt at the beginning I was a little angry, and it was very interesting for me because because we always feel treat ourselves so serious, yeah, and so real. But I think with this healing process, and also Sangeeta is doing in the same way, my friend and amazing doctor, that when we start to treat ourselves not so serious, of course it's not easy when we are in pain, and I understand, because I had also this experience in my past. But what has happened, it was like after 10 minutes this super serious, full of pain lady was laughing with him, you know, at the stage, and it was like incredible, like it's possible. I just wanted to comment that it's possible. I will never be. I know that we can be always surprised. You know, just to comment it, and it can happen like really fast. You know, if we get a good connection with some people who have some methods, and so it's just yeah, it's an example, and it was like plenty of that. So I'm sure that it's possible.
Chris. Thank you. Thank you.
Chris.
All right, Dr. Brad. Like I said, if you want to stay on, feel free. But if not, I know you're busy. And thanks for even taking the time. And definitely everyone should check out Dr. Brad's work. And he has a new book coming out too as well. And also the documentary that we're working on, Dr. Brad, which is going to be unbelievable. So
yeah, we're very excited about that. Shot a lot more video today here for that in Las Vegas at our event, and Danielle will we'll be connecting with you. And by the way, if you want to get a free copy, let's see, my assistant is on here texting.
Lacey, I think there's Lacey on there.
Yeah, just the code is pain, so just Let's see here. Yeah. Lacey, you can stay and tell everybody how to do it. I got to get going.
Thanks, Dr. Brad.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.
you.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Charles.
I just
much.
put the details in the chat, Charles.
Perfect,
There you
perfect, perfect. I'd love to bring up Dr. Carlfeld. He's also in our new documentary on CRPS. So excited to have him. Dr. Carlfeld, I know you work with a lot of people who are dealing with CRPS. Tell us a little bit about working with complex regional pain syndrome and some of the modalities that you're using that you've seen success with.
Well, and the thing with pain, and I agree with everyone, and Danielle, I mean, what a warrior. I mean, all you guys are such warriors, battling through this for decades. And and pain, like Dr. Nelson, what he's saying, it is body's way of communicating that something is wrong. So it becomes our job to try to investigate and see what is that. It always has some kind of a driver. Are we looking at emotions? Are we looking at physical? Are we looking at inflammatory? Are we is it hypoxia, scar interferences, stealth infections, Lyme, mold? There's so many structural, I mean, there's so many different factors that can then drive pain. And so here at my center, at the Carlfeld Center, I brought in a huge amount of different tools. We do music therapy, we have something called theta chamber, the work on the binaural beats, the vestibular motions, it kind of combining a bunch of different therapies, different TMS devices, they're a little different than the kind of more updated TMS device. We use investigative therapies, to locate and see, are there underlying infectious agents, like Lyme, Bartonella is a common one that can really drive a lot of these kind of pain signaling. And then also scrambler therapy. I mean, I saw that somebody was mentioning scrambler therapy here, and Monocore, and then we do a huge amount of different IVs and oxygen therapies, and to help to move heavy metals that sometimes can kind of be locked in those nerve receptor sites, so that we can pull them out, and so that the neurotransmitters can communicate with each other. And also we have the cell wall membrane, to work on that as well, because if the cell wall membrane is not able to move nutrients in and toxins out, then the cell is going to be screaming, and it's not going to get the nutrients, and how it communicates is pain. So it is, from my point of view, it is so important to look at all these different factors. In addition to, yes, we do peptides, whether it's BPC 157, TB 500, exosomes, stem cells, true dose, all these different things we do. And so people can come then, and we can evaluate and see what are all the different factors that's driving this this pain signaling, and why it's stuck in that process. So we want to make sure that we remove the causative factor, whether it's emotion, trauma, or some physical, remove that. And then once it's removed, and sometimes the brain is kind of stuck in that pain signaling, and we want to then address that as well. So even though removing the trauma, we still need to regenerate. And then we also need to reestablish then that communication between the brain and the location where the pain is at. And so then things like scrambler therapy. We also have a kind of an M-Sculpt device that's phenomenal with different signaling, radio frequency, and pulse electromagnetic field, very targeted. So it's combining all of these things, together, that I think becomes such a powerful way to assess and address, what's going on for an individual, so they can move out of pain. So so that's my little spiel of what we do here, and I'm really excited about the documentary that we filmed together, so we can kind of highlight a lot of these different therapies that are available and that are really powerful. And as I said, sometimes when you just kind of do one thing over here, one thing over there, it may not be sufficient. So if you can bring them all together, and it becomes even more powerful.
I have a question for the doctor.
Okay, go ahead. 1 second. Let me
That's fine.
Dr. Caulfield, we also have Stefan from Scrambler Therapy, and I'd love to have him kind of talk about how it has helped, because obviously we're seeing some comments in here that Scrambler has definitely changed some people's lives. So maybe you two can kind of talk about the benefits and who it does help. Stefan, are you there?
I am. Hi, Charles. Hi, Dr. Carlfeld. Are you working with Dr. Basie up there in Boise, or do you have your own?
I am. Yeah, I'm actually. He's in my practice, and yeah. So I'm actually gonna take over his practice because he's want to go fishing.
Well,
you
you
want
live
to
in a
be
beautiful
done.
area, so that's a great place to do that. Yeah.
Stefan, you want to explain a little bit who you are and about the Scrambler Therapy?
Yeah, so I represent the sole source distributor of Scrambler Therapy here in the US. And this has been actually a great conversation. I've actually spent most of my career in acute healthcare. So you talk about Western medicine, and Western medicine definitely has a place. I mean, it is phenomenal when you have a heart attack or you need a broken bone, structured, or for acute care injuries. I mean, there's nothing better than what we've got here in the U.S. in terms of Western medicine, but there is definitely a gap. I mean, I saw it in the hospitals we were working at, as well as you can see it out there. As for chronic pain, there's really not a lot. I mean, it's the diagnosis goes, well, here's some drugs, or here's this. And so I love that this is really shifting. I mean, it's a lot of it's Eastern medicine, or it's things that really truly say, what are some other alternatives to solve pain? I think Scrambler Therapy probably fits right in the middle of that. It's a little bit more of a Western medicine concept of we can go in and help solve the issue with the technology. But what's interesting is, I think it was Dr. Sanjita, you were mentioning in the beginning about how much does the mindset have an influence on the effectiveness. We're seeing a correlation between certain characteristics of patients that for CRPS, Scrambler Therapy is phenomenal. I mean, we're probably 89% effective in most of the treatments that we do when we've got really well-trained providers. But there's a small subset that they don't respond. And for a long time, we were scratching our head, and some of our providers are starting to actually notice that when the patient comes in the door, I was talking to one of my providers, and she just goes, Stefan, I can actually tell when I first meet the patient and the first introduction and commentary we have, I'm starting to pick out the ones that won't respond. And it's kind of that you talk about mindset. They've got a very negative concept. Everything's a problem. Woe is me. Like the sky is falling. And she goes, there's this personality, and it's like their mind is actually blocking anything from happening, right? And so that's been really interesting. But a little background on Scrambler Therapy. I mean, Scrambler Therapy is really about changing the way your body perceives pain. It was invented by a neuroscientist out of Italy. His name is Giuseppe Marineo, and he actually figured out, to put it simply, he figured out the algorithm or the coding, think of almost like zeros and ones in the computer programming world, of a no pain signal on the neural system. And he also was able to figure out how to deliver that so that your body will actually take in that no pain signal and ignore the pain signal that exists there. And so it's effective with all types of neuropathic pain, everywhere from diabetic neuropathy, CRPS, shingles pain. There's a number of providers who actually go off label and even use it for migraine headaches. Been phenomenal for that as well. And so, but it does use those principles of brain plasticity, where you do a series of treatments day by day over anywhere from 5, 10, 15 treatments, depending on what you're doing. CRPS patients seem to be on the higher end of those numbers. And, and day by day, your body will take in, and the pain will stay away longer and longer each day. So that's what's fun about Scrambler Therapy.
Yeah, thank you so much, Stefan.
Amazing.
And Dr. Carlfeld, what have you seen, even just from a personal standpoint, regarding those who are dealing with CRPS and pain? What has been a key, not just with using devices and things like that, but to feeling better? And I know I unmuted you. A young lady here had a question for you too as well. Go ahead, feel free.
Yeah, I have a rare form of asthma. It's the eosinophilic, which is inflammatory type, a severe form, and only 5% of all asthma have that. I also have a CRPS friend that we both have that. We both have CRPS, so two rare diseases together, and wondering if any of the doctors are doing the autoimmune routes.
Yes, autoimmune, obviously, and when you're dealing with the eosinophils just going haywire, a lot of times, you can bring in different therapies, and it really you have to kind of step very carefully. That's peptides can sometimes be really powerful in that area. Exosomes, there's certain type of exosome that I really like that helps to really kind of quench that fire. And also, I mean, the working on the brain, the mind, just because when you perceive things as a threat, the immune system is going to respond to as a threat. We know the white blood cells, they actually have receptors for your neurotransmitters. So your thought patterns and how you perceive the world is going to then impact the brain. So you want to, it's a little bit different from person to person, but when you're in that place, you want to support the body with kind of regulating the immune system at the same time as you're looking for the initial driver.
All right.
Okay. I would love to say something, Dr. Carfield, you hit on it really with the autonomic nervous system, because we've treated, dealt with lots of autoimmunity, and what I finally have figured out over many decades is that it really has to do with and very often starts with an autonomic nervous system that is hyperactive, and that translates into the gut, because 70% of that nervous system lies in the gut. And then we start getting leaks and autoimmunity, and it's not that simple, but really what you said about going into the mind and controlling our autonomic nervous system, which is generally in overdrive, is one of the most powerful things we can do, whether it's for pain or autoimmunity or cancer. That's where our society is falling apart, because all of us are in overdrive, saying no, yes to more things we should, answering phones, listening to dings, and even, having commitments that maybe we shouldn't have. But you have a lot of power when you bring the autonomic nervous system back to the belief and the hope that life is good, that you engage in the things that give you joy, and relentlessly shed those things that do not fire you up.
Yeah, and I think Charles, he was talking about personal story a little bit. I know in the documentary we're featuring my wife, and she was dealing with an autoimmune condition that actually she should have been dead a few years ago. The doctors told her that she only had X amount of years left to live. When I met her, she was not able to hold a toothbrush. She had very hard time to move. She was on opioids, and prednisones, and her muscles were literally just kind of melting off her body because of the amount of prednisone she was on. And so there are, and now she's doing, I wouldn't say she's in a perfect place, but she is in a great place, and she's alive. I mean, because the disease she was dealing with was literally going to go in and then shut down her organs, and she wasn't going to be able to breathe, her heart was going to stop, and all these kind of things. So and now she is she's a health freedom fighter, and she's out there supporting people's choice in regards to how they want to address their health conditions, and utilizing the natural therapies versus being forced to do medical care in many situations. So there are stories like that when we work as providers that we get to see. Obviously, that one is more personal because it is my wife. But so it's a lot that can be done. There are a lot of tools out there.
Dr. Carfield, we have a question. It says, is type 1 CRPS more favorable to treatment than those with type 2 CRPS?
I see. I don't like when you classify things and say that this is easier than another. Yeah, it's kind of like when I have a person, because I also deal a lot with integrative oncology, and I have someone that comes in with a small tumor versus somebody that is dealing with a stage 4, and it's in the brain and liver and lungs and things. And it sometimes it can be easier actually to address the very difficult one than the one that seemingly is stage 1. And so I don't like that classification saying that one is easier than the other. Each individual is unique, and you should not put yourself in a box and then allow the medical profession sort of say, draw those lines and saying that this is the box that you should exist within.
Good, good, good. Don't go anywhere, Dr. Carfeld. I'm gonna bring on Sherry New and also then Nicole. So Sherry has been a great friend of ours, supported the first film, a sweetheart of a woman who I love dearly. And Sherry, please give me about 2 minutes because we got so many people here. Give us a little bit of your story and where you're at now.
In a minute? Do I get a minute?
You get a minute, you get 2, Sherry.
Well, actually, excuse me, I'm coming down with a cold, so bear with me. 10 years in with CRPS, and from the very beginning, I just knew I wanted to surround myself with people that were going to make a difference. And I met you, Charles. I don't even remember how we met, but 10 years now.
Wow.
That we've been friends. I just knew I wanted to be a part of raising awareness.
Yeah.
I was told there is no cure. I did find remission on Easter Sunday of last year. I do have a medical device. I do have my second spinal cord stimulator. As far as mental health goes, though, I remember those times of ugly crying, just laying there ugly crying is for lack of a better term, because nothing worked. It just hurt, and it hurt. Mine's in my right foot, and it traveled up the right side of my body. That hasn't happened since 2020. And I do believe that mindset is everything. I've always been a positive person. I was a cheerleader, a dancer. I'm still a cheerleader. I'm a 62-year-old cheerleader. I just want to be, where the high vibration and protect my peace. Now, my daughter used to tell me when, she was the one, she's 40. She didn't understand, and she kept trying to help me. Well, if you just go outside and, go grounding. And I thought, oh my God, no, I couldn't even stand to wear a sock or a shoe, or the thought of going outside and putting my feet in the ground with nothing on. I did get some grounding shoes, and those are wonderful, but I did start doing that this year, just getting out there and enjoying the sunshine and enjoying the grass and nature and all the things that I had missed out on for those 10 years. I've been an advocate the entire time. My doctor told me I was crazy, but I think he meant good crazy. He said I had a great attitude, and I went to work as an advocate for the practice for 5 pain management doctors. And I saw people with CRPS, other people that were struggling like I was. And I just knew if I kept my attitude in the right place, that anything is possible. I do believe that anything is possible. I believe that miracles happen every day. And no more would someone tell me. I was scared to even say that I was in remission because my doctor doesn't believe it. My pain management doctor said no. I said, do you think I'm in remission? And he said, no. And I said, why? And he said, because of the comorbidities. I also have Ehlers-Danlos, mast cell activation. And that's something that they don't tell you when you're diagnosed, all the comorbidities. That's a tongue twister. That can go along with it. And I feel like I put the CRPS to bed, and I know that another injury can put me right back there, because I've seen it in friends, longtime friends that had remission, and hikers, that just want to be out in nature and have an injury. and it sets them back. But we keep getting up and we keep going. And I think that is what we have to do. I've seen so much negativity, and I'll be the first one to say it, that until we have more people out there that want to fight and want to raise awareness and want to be cheerleaders, we are not going to make a difference.
to my thing?
And someone just popped up.
No, well said, Sherry. Well
Um,
said.
It's honest.
Yeah.
It's as honest. I mean, we made Trial by Fire, 2015, and people are still asking where they can see it. Like,
Yeah.
second one is getting ready to come out, and I'm just, that's just how I am. I'm honest to a fault, and it's what I believe. If I can find it through attitude, because attitude is everything. One of my favorite sayings is by Charles Swindoll. Attitude is everything. Because it is. And until you wrap your head around the fact that you can make changes, your body can make changes. I changed everything. Okay, when I had my spinal cord stimulator surgery, it took me 9 months to heal because of the Ehlers-Danlos and the mast cell. I was like, I have a battery in my hip. I have all the way up my spine. I have an incision and the one between my shoulder blades because they wanted to put a lead into my neck for my arm. And I remember, and I got off the pain meds about that time. I just kind of weaned myself off of a good deal of morphine. And I remember being in the bed. I read a book called Disjointed. It's written by 16 different doctors in their specialties and how all of these things are connected, either genetically, so on and so forth. But I remember being in the bed and thinking, I'm going to get up and move. I'm going to do this. And I would start just by, putting the music on. Lenny Kravitz was my favorite. Putting the music on and just moving the upper part of my body while I laid there in the bed. Just little tiny steps, And then I have a runner in my kitchen. I would use that runner to do a dance back and forth. It wasn't very much, but it was enough. And I changed my diet. Anti-inflammatory, keto, whatever works for you. Basically got rid of carbs, sugar, caffeine, alcohol. All the things I knew weren't good for my body, because I could see when we filmed Trial by Fire 2, I could see the inflammation in my face and under my eyes. Now, granted, I was crying.
You lost some weight too, Sherry. You lost some weight.
I lost about 52 pounds, and it was by moving my butt. I just kept saying, you know what? I set a goal of 7,000 steps a day. And I thought, to some people that might sound pathetic, but to somebody that hadn't walked in 10 years, it was a lot. Yeah. And I just kept moving, and I've gotten up to as many as 20,000 steps a day, without even. So
I think we should take a moment here. One moment, Sherry. I think we also just take a moment just to congratulate and honor. That's not an easy feat to drop over 50 pounds or so.
Yeah.
That takes discipline, that takes commitment, and believing it's possible.
Yeah.
Again,
and those steps, that's amazing.
And once you do it,
well done.
Once you do it, thank you, Jay. I appreciate you. And once you do it, especially with diet, like I can't eat things that are gross now, donuts or sugar or I just don't want it. I don't like it. And, I was on a weight loss journey when I first got CRPS, because I thought, if I just lose 20 pounds, it'll make it easier. It didn't really help that much, but yeah, 50 pounds does make a difference. And it's been since November, since I saw you, Charles, last that I didn't like the way that I looked. I didn't like the way that I felt, even though I was in remission. Something was missing. And I feel great now, other than the comorbidities.
Well, I'm proud of you, Sherry.
Congratulations.
For
Thank
being
you.
my friend and supporting me in many different ways. I know I've ran my mouth to you a ton of times in confident, and when I'm stressed, when I'm happy, and all the in between. But thank you, and I love you. And I want to bring on Alana, who is also another sweetheart of a person. She's also in the documentary, And Alana, give us about, we've got a bunch of people to get to. So give us your story in about a minute and a half. And I know your treatment has been ketamine. She flies all the way from Canada to Clearwater, Florida for treatment. So with Dr. Hannah, tell us a little bit about your journey.
So my journey started in 2015 in January. I was not your typical CRPS patient because mine came out spontaneously. I had no pre-existing surgeries or accidents or sprains or anything. So I was a mystery to everybody in Canada. Nobody wanted to come near me. Nobody wanted to diagnose me. Um, I finally got a diagnosis from a physiotherapist who had saw it in a child she treated once before. And once she told me to go home and look it up and read about it. And then once I was going to see other doctors in Toronto, and I presented them with the RSD, CRPS diagnosis, they agreed with it. But I'm not sure how much all of you know about the healthcare in Canada. It is not as good as you think it is when you say free. You are waiting at least 6 months to a year to find a specialist. And when you have CRPS, you want to get in as quick as you can. So while I was waiting to get in as quick as you can, I was doing research worldwide. I was researching. My parents took me to the Cleveland Clinic. They wanted to do a spinal cord stimulator right away. I said, absolutely not. I called Dr. Hannah's office. I called two offices in Florida, and there was about a $5,000 difference in treatment. And I ended up sticking with Dr. Hannah, and because like most of the other CRPS patients said, I had steroids didn't work. You couldn't give me any pain medication because the CRPS canceled out all that for me. I got no relief from any kind of oxys, narcotics, muscle relaxers, nothing worked. So once I got to Dr. Hannah's, I was supposed to be there only for 2 weeks for loading doses. I ended up being there, and that's actually how I met Charles, because Charles's mom was doing physiotherapy with me, and she was doing her treatment. And sorry, Charles, if I wasn't supposed to say that.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay, so, and that's kind of how I met Charles. And then originally I wasn't getting my full relief. I was still only getting 7 to 10 days maybe of relief, but in kind of concocting a different protocol with me, I now get maybe 1.5 months to 2 months relief. But I'm literally flying, like I live out of a suitcase. So I fly from Toronto, Canada to Florida every 2 to 2.5 months. There's no insurance for me. By the grace of my parents, I'm very fortunate that they help pay for my medical bills because I'm on disability. I was working. This literally one day I was fine and one day I was not. Unfortunately, disability doesn't cover ketamine costs, and especially my Canadian government. We even had a doctor write to them, and they refused to help me in any sort of way. So for the last 10, almost 11 years, I've been going back and forth from Clearwater, Florida to Toronto. Ketamine is the only thing that has helped me. And we've just made a ketamine group in Dr. Hannah's office to help spread awareness for this reason, just because there's so many people that are asking questions. They don't know where to go. The treatment costs are getting outrageous, and insurances and stuff like that. And, people are trying other treatments, and whether they're working or not, it's almost a last resort.
Yeah, Dr. Carlfeld, last question for you too as well. I don't want to hold you too much, but have you dealt with people who, let's just say ketamine is the only thing that works for them? What would you do in that situation?
Well, I mean, and ketamine, I know we used to have a practitioner here at the center doing ketamine, and I think it's a phenomenal therapy. I so I for people that do that, I think it's great therapy. I know a lot of people, obviously, and it's the same with every therapy, is that you do this and it works for some, and then it doesn't work for others. So to me, to be able to kind of so I feel a person should not be hopeless, if a therapy is not working, just recognizing that they're more out there. In regards to resetting the brain, I mean, what I probably would like to do prior to is using some of the other devices we have, like the theta chamber. I feel that it's a little bit less traumatizing and then less non-invasive. But again, ketamine has helped a lot of people, and I think it should be available if it is under good guidance. I mean, obviously, we heard stories of well-known actors that didn't do it under the appropriate care, and so it's very, very important to have the right individual that guides that care, when you do it. But I see that you're able to do, move the needle with so many other therapies, before trying ketamine, and that's what we offer here.
The thing is, and I would like to ask you a question, is that, ketamine, it wreaks havoc on your body for doing it for so long. I'm not gonna be like, it's the golden key, because yes, it gives me my relief, but it comes with other side effects after using it for so long. And that's why, like, I hope other people in this group, I don't know if they've heard about the treatment in Italy, but I don't know. I would love to start something either more holistic or something different that's not going to kill my insides as much, because every time I go, I have to start back at zero. So every time I come back to Clearwater, I'm basically redoing my loading doses just at the same dose every time, and I have to come for 2 weeks every time. So I know there's treatment in Italy, but the only fear that I had with that was that I didn't know how to treat, if I was going to be able to treat my flares while waiting for that the biphosphates to take effect on me, and that's what I was scared of trying something new.
Yeah, and I think the key is a lot of times to stack different therapies together, and I think that makes it even more powerful, that we are addressing underlying drivers, while we then support regeneration, while you work on the emotional aspect. So kind of stacking all of that together, makes it so much more powerful, and they're great. I mean. Like Stefan was talking about, the scrambler therapy. I mean, I think that is a phenomenal therapy, but combining that with looking at the underlying drivers becomes really, really important. Sometimes, tissue can signal pain because it's just hypoxic, and it can become hypoxic because that area is almost like you hold the trauma, or you hold an infection, or you hold something in that part of the tissue, and it doesn't allow the nutrients and oxygen to get to that location.
Yes.
And so now that location keeps, sending signals saying, please help me. I'm drowning. I'm not getting the nutrients. I'm filling up with toxins. And we try to then eat good food, or we try to do all these different things, but it's going everywhere else except for that location, because it is kind of walled off. So it's looking at all these things at the same time that becomes really important when you're assessing an individual.
And
Wow.
I wanted to make a comment too about that. I think a lot of times there's all these treatments, there's the Spravato, there's ketamine, there's, the scrambler, but there are some very basic foundational things that help the body to heal itself. And those usually fall into 5 areas. And the 5 areas are, hormonal balance, which almost 100% of people who are going to have these syndromes will have adrenal thyroid compromise less than 75th percentile. So that doesn't mean you're in the normal range, you're not in the optimal range. The second one is, of course, the nutritional status, which you can measure and see whether it's in the 75th percentile. But one of the most important ones is magnesium, and especially lipid soluble. Get it through a bath, get it through an IV, get it, but we're all magnesium deficient. So these are basic
do that, yes.
deficiencies. They're not treatments. It's like correct what's the basis, right?
Right.
And the third one is detoxification. Like, what's the tissue pH? It doesn't matter how much ketamine or all these things we do. If the tissue pH, that means your morning urine pH is less than 7.0, the body can't innately heal. Ketamine will maybe mask some pain, but it's not going to allow innate self-healing.
Right.
The fourth one, Dr. Carfield just mentioned, is oxygenation. And just because we're breathing doesn't mean that every tissue is getting ideally oxygenated. And there are ways like exercise with oxygen therapy. We use that a lot with 100% oxygen, and a lot of different ways to improve oxygen to certain areas. And the fifth one, which is of course the most important one, is the heart, mind, autonomic nervous system, energy, frequency, belief, hope, all of those things that drives the healing. So turning on innate self-healing may or may not have to do with, it's the foundation. It's the foundation for how we do less ketamine treatments and less of other stuff. And one way to work on that heart-mind axis that I found extremely successful in many people is plant medicine, psilocybin, mushrooms. They're not just immune boosters. They change the energetics because plants are wise. So,
They were medicine before medicine was medicine.
yeah.
Right? Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I just, like I said, the ketamine in the last 10 years is, like I said, it's the only thing that has helped me, but it's just played a lot of havoc on my gut, on my body, on my brain. And if I could just reduce the amount of infusions that I'm doing, because like doing 10 every 2 months, it's a lot. And at the dose that I'm at, it's a lot for me. And I would love, like, when I started, there weren't as many options as there are now. So it's great to see that there's so much more awareness, and there's so many more doctors that are interested in this field and helping us get better. And thank you to Dr. Cartfeld, because I will reach out to you. I was just going to ask you, Dr. Cartfeld, do you do exomes or anything like that in your clinic?
Yeah, we do exosomes, stem cells, all the different peptides, all the different nutritional IVs, curcumin IV, resveratrol IV, EGCG, phosphatidylcholine,
And may I
poly-MDA.
ask, where are you located?
I'm in Boise, Idaho.
Okay. I think I'm going to reach out to your clinic, because I know I've heard great things about the exomes. And I'm
Yeah.
hoping that maybe if I can maybe make an appointment with you to see you, and maybe if we can discuss treatment options. Just I need a plan B. I know I know I can't do this to my body for the rest of my life. My body won't hold out on this forever.
No. And the key is that, so yes, the ketamine is helping over here. But then at the same time, what we want to do, like you're saying, we want to shift, so that you don't have the need for this as much. And it's just like when you're moving a person from being on a bunch of oxy or prednisone, is that you can't just stop this immediately, but you want to start to support the body over here so that the need of these medications becomes less and less until the body can start to function on its own.
Okay.
Thank you, Ilana.
Yeah.
And,
Thank you so much, Charles. That you just like saved my life right now. Thank you.
No, we're gonna bring on Nicole. Nicole, give me. You have some powerful things to share. I need a minute, then I'm gonna go to Dr. Rhodes.
Okay, so I'm just gonna say, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm a National Academy of Sports Medicine certified personal trainer, behavior specialist. I'm also a metabolic technician. I've studied with 2 different metabolic doctors at what would help people heal, but also lose weight effectively. My mother had RSD, osteoporosis, but also arthritis. She was on OxyContin for 13 years. She lost the use of her colon and intestines. That sent me on a 35-year search for what it is truly that healing is all about. And not just a pain alleviation, but healing. So I studied, and I a Reiki practitioner and then a Reiki master in 2007. I got certified or attuned in 1990. So this is 35 years of personal training, energy work, as well as the study of the science of how the mind and body work together. I am considered a mind, body, soul, and spirit expert. When I go down a line of questioning that assumes your body already and your mind already have wisdom to alleviate the pain completely, I'm telling you, it takes me 15 minutes and it's gone. This has happened over and over and over again. Everything from carpal tunnel syndrome to sciatica to back pain and other things. I'm telling you, you don't need any of this. You don't need any of it. And I'd love to take each and every one of you and hold you in my hands and bring you forward in your own wisdom and understanding how all of this works. Pain isn't simply a physiological problem. You're all touching on the same thoughts and ideas. It's not mindset, though. And it is not a way of being positive. Only 20% of the population actually gets results from positive thinking because they've never had a history or experience of trauma or abuse or chaos or neglect. Those are the things that start this pain timeline, okay? Thereby, for which no one's asking the right questions. What I found historically is that, and as a personal trainer, I was trained to be this very high-end, cutting-edge, science-based salesperson of other people's assessments, nutrients, supplements, nutrition, personal training. And I myself was the only weight loss and healing center on the East Coast to have neurochemistry on board, meaning neurofeedback on board. Didn't work. 300 sessions, $3,000 later, that's when you start to feel a change. What I do is far and away above and beyond, way faster, way more effective. I also had this inspiration for
we got to get to Dr. Rhodes.
effective ways of healing than ever before. And it only uses you, your own mind, body, soul, and spirit. So if you want to get in touch with me, my website's .org.
Definitely. Thank you, Nicole. Yeah, put your information in there. So, Dr. Rhodes. Dr. Rhodes is someone I met a few years back who has an amazing device. I definitely think also, Dr. Rhodes, you and Stefan should chat. I actually saw Dr. Rhodes' device. There was a young girl. She had to be probably about 15 or 16 at the time. And she was in bad condition, very bad condition. This girl is now, I think last time I saw her, she was cheerleading. Her life had changed. There was also a young lady who, when I say she was in horrible condition, I mean horrible condition. And we would talk on Instagram, and she was very close to wanting to take her life. And she went and saw Dr. Rhodes, and man, unbelievable change, unbelievable change. So, and once again, what we want to do is just bring some of these treatments to people. There are going to be need for treatments at times. We can't outthink this away at times. But so, Dr. Rhodes, do share a little bit about the Vector and some of the success that you've had.
Yes, sir. Can you see me?
Yeah, we got you, Dr. Rhodes. Just go take it away.
I can see you. I can't see me. I'm up on the top there. So basically, I think the first thing we need to talk about is the word warriors. The people who come in with complex regional pain syndrome, and I've seen a whole lot of them since 1992. I'm a surgeon by training. I think surgically. What's the problem? How'd you get there? How do we fix it? And one of my patients wrote a book called Why Would You Want Pain Management When You Can Have Pain Banishment with a B? And that's what I do. I make things go away. Routinely, people are improving day 2 because something is better. They sleep better, they feel better, their mind is better. It's not magic if you don't realize that if you have fuel, oxygen, and temperature together, you have a fire. And so everything that I do is based on science. So we need to go to the science of why do people have complex regional pain syndrome, including me. I have that disease. As long as I run my machine, I have no pain, but it's still there. It's in remission, but we all know that injuries will bring it out. So the basis of complex regional pain syndrome is insufficient circulation at the cellular level. I always would push oxygen. Oxygen at the cellular level is important, but so is lack of carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide mixes with water, becomes carbonic acid, pH goes down, the inflammatory cytokines such as TNF alpha go up. We showed with 3 people who actually, I have a bunch of patients running around with Duchenne muscular dystrophy. 3 of the patients had fathers who were physicians and wanted to know from the get-go whether I was making a difference. So I had them draw TNF alpha levels prior to and after the first treatment. And the average was for the 3 of them, one had 28%, one has 30, one has 30% reduction in TNF alpha, one treatment. So what I do now is thermographic images. Thermographic images show calcitonin gene-related peptide. Calcitonin gene-related peptide lack of is the cause of complex regional pain syndrome, along with some other guys. There's 5 good, 5 bad. If the 5 good guys are empowered, you're healthy. The number 1 is calcitonin gene-related peptide. That brings circulation to the skin, bones, small muscle, nerves, and organs throughout your body. That allows your body to make VIP. VIP is jokingly called very important peptide. It's actually vasoactive intestinal polypeptide. It runs everything from the top of your head to the bottom of your butt. And so we're writing a book right now. Actually, my wife is doing all the hard work, the heavy lifting. It's called The Power of Electromedicine, Wisdom of the Past, Power of the Future. And on the back of it, and people are certainly welcome to get a hold of my website is vector.com. And if you request the book when it comes out, which will be in the next couple months, on the back cover, it's Energy is the Language of Healing, Practiced in the East, Measured in the West. Healing begins when we start choosing sides and start listening to the current that flows between them. So what I do is we have Vector, which increases calcitonin gene-related peptide. We show that with thermographic images. So for your patient who said that he had the plugged arteries in his leg and he's struggling up the side of the mountain and stuff like that. I had a patient last week with diabetes. He only had one leg because they already amputated his other from diabetic foot ulceration, went to the bone, osteomyelitis, they amputated. So he's very concerned. He had a diabetic foot ulceration, which had been present for 1 year when he came to me last week. The bottom of his toe on day 1 was 70 degrees. The bottom of that 4th toe on day 5, and people come to me for 5 days. And if you're not better on the 5th day, you can give me back the machine and I'll give you 80% of the money back. On day 5, his right 4th toe was 87 degrees. He went up 17 degrees, even though he had 90% plugging of the arteries, 17 degrees Fahrenheit. And this is a 70-degree room for the thermographic images. And he went up 17 degrees in 5 days of treatment. Thermograph showed that he had circulation to the proximal half of his foot on day 1. By day 5, he had circulation into all of the toes of his right foot, even though he had plugged arteries. So we need to talk about VIP. This is the mind-body connection. VIP is very important peptide. It not only controls circulation to your digestive system, it also is running the brain, because in order to make or break glycogen, which is the fuel of the brain, you have to have VIP. VIP is also a very powerful anti-inflammatory, which will take the inflammation out of the brain, such as long-term COVID. 3 years ago, I showed that we were able to reverse on brain scans using this treatment, TBI, PTSD. They're nothing more than VIP in the brain. So this is a biofeedback system, which is reading temperatures from your fingers and then choosing the appropriate beat frequencies to run the treatment on the basis of increasing temperature. If it doesn't increase it enough, it'll choose the best of the choices and then tell you to get a new protocol so that you're always getting the best possible treatment. So we're working on generation 3. The first 2 I did out of back of my pocket and went $2.4 million in the hole, and giving that up is a bad hobby. But we're working on generation 3 with some other companies. We're ready to do TBI and PTSD studies with a Veterans Outreach Clinic in Dallas, Texas. We're getting ready to do the diabetes type 2 study in Houston with kidney failure, which is a horrible way to go. So there's a lot of things going on, but if I can go through some of what was touched on, the warrior thing, I tell the patients on day 1, because they're type A. Type A people are, and I'm including myself, I'm including you, I'm including all doctors. We look at everything as if we can do anything if we try hard enough. If we fail, we didn't try hard enough. And what I tell the patients on day 1 is, you need to realize this disease is like you're sitting in quicksand. The harder you struggle, the faster you go down. It's based on COMT, catechol-O-methyltransferase, is the genetic code you get from mom and dad. You get 2 genes, 2 alleles. There is a high level and a low level. If you have one parent who is a what me worry, and the other one is a what me worry, you're going to get rid of norepinephrine in 20 seconds. If you have one rock and roll parent, one type A parent, and one what me worry parent, you're going to get rid of the norepinephrine in 2 minutes. If you have 2 rock and roll parents, 2 low functioning alleles, you don't get rid of norepinephrine for 8 to 10 minutes. in the next 8 to 10 minutes, you're either going to have a stress or think you have a stress. That's why on a heart rate variability, what we're trying to get is sinusoidal rhythm, kind of a hills and valleys, because our bodies are responding to the electromotive force going through the air, cell phones, radio waves, television waves. That's all affecting our bodies. And so we get a response. We get an increase of heart rate, increase of sympathetic nervous system, and then, okay, that passes, we go down. But at the beginning, as one of your other folks was talking about, mitochondrial and adrenal fatigue, chronic fatigue is rampant among these patients coming in. So what I'm looking for is on the heart rate variability, if your thermographic images show you don't have circulation in your fingers and toes, then the sympathetic nervous system is on overload. If the heart rate variability does not show that, what it means is your adrenal glands have played out. In other words, the way the sympathetic nervous system works is that it tells the adrenal glands to release norepinephrine. And then you have a mass discharge of norepinephrine, which takes circulation away from skin, bone, small muscle, nerves, and organs throughout your body. That's why more than 50% of the women with CRPS who come to me don't have a gallbladder. Evidently, God did not do a really great job of designing gallbladders. However, the adrenal gland will shut down. So the sympathetic nervous system says, let loose the moose. The adrenal gland said, we have no moose because you've cut us off for more than 6 weeks. And so you're not getting the heart rate variability that you should have to match the thermographs. Thermographs are always correct. Heart rate variability can get fooled, but it can come back. It comes back in 1 to 30 days. And when it comes back, the people have energy. But in our bathroom, we have a big sign that says, hope is the anchor of the soul.
Yes.
You have to hope in order to improve. If you don't hope you can climb a mountain, you're not going to try. So you're never going to climb it. So it's very straightforward. It's all based on science, and we get great results. Comorbidities are just things that come with this. They're all explainable. If you look at the 5 good, the 5 bad, you can explain everything that comes with this disease. It makes sense.
Thank you.
I always love disease because disease follows patterns. Patients don't.
Thank you, Dr. Rhodes. Now, once again, where can people find you?
If they go to vector.com, it's VECTT, 2 T's. So it's Victor, Echo, Charlie, Thomas, Oscar, Romeo.com. And I'm in the north end of Houston. There's going to be a lot of stuff coming out over the next few years as we go through with this, that routinely patients improve where they come in. I do 60 questions on day 1, everything from anxiety to constipation to where do you hurt? And we follow that, we track that. I've had people come in with 560 out of 600, and we track that every day. We get at least a 10% drop every day, usually more like 30 to 40%. Had a CRPS patient come in a couple of weeks ago. He was about 190 out of 600. He left on day 5 at 2 out of 600.
Wow.
Thank you, Dr. Rhodes. Hang in there in case we have some questions for you. We've got a bunch more people. We want to try to get to everyone. I definitely want you and Stefan to chat. I think you may be able to do some business together. Justine, how are you? Would love to hear a little bit about your story and where you're at now.
Thanks, Charles. Yeah, I'll be brief since we're running out of time here, but I appreciate you squeezing me in and on. My name is Justine. I am also a complex regional pain syndrome patient. First and foremost, I've had that for over 6 years. I had a stimulator implanted about 1.5 to 2 years into it. And all of this for me happened after 9 years of living with a severe traumatic brain injury. that I got right after college. So I had a lot of those pre-existing neuroinflammation, sensitization related, underlying conditions and trauma and life history things that kind of make the perfect storm for CRPS when that unlucky straw that breaks the camel's back happens. And so I basically, I pretty quickly reached the end of what the medical system could offer me. And I didn't want to repeat the same mistake that I made in the brain injury years of outsourcing all of my power and all of my agency and expecting, medical professionals and someone to save me. And I think the hard truth and the burden we bear as patients is that we have to save ourselves, but it is not solely our responsibility, right? We are not to blame for where we're at, and we need medical professionals and we need the medical system with specific pieces that we outsource. But I basically started shifting into teaching myself everything I could from a movement perspective. I became a movement professional and a pain coach who works primarily with CRPS and complex pain patients, really that 3% of, the EDSs, the CRPSs, all these coexisting underlying things. And I love the topic of this, this summit, because it really does come down to agency and being able to decipher what do we impact and what can we impact as patients, and then what do we need to outsource. And for me, and what I see with, all the populations I work with too, is it's not about right treatment, wrong treatment, or right approach, wrong approach. It's about right treatment, right patient, right time. And in everything we've kind of been discussing today too, if you look at it like treatment as like a flower petal or a flower, and different modalities and different treatments are different petals, you're kind of constantly walking this flower, and you're going to try physiotherapy and it's going to not work, and you're going to try something else and it's going to not work, and you have to kind of pivot, or it helps but not enough. And so to have power as patients, I think you have to understand pain, right? And it's not as simple as it's brain generated. It's like, what's body part pain, what's nerve pain, what's nervous system amplification or sensitization, what are other disease pathologies and contributing factors like deconditioning and EDS. And then you can start to better understand, okay, what piece of pain am I treating with what therapy or strategy? And so I work with patients on all the conservative pain management pieces, right? All the lifestyle, it sounds boring, but it's super important. Sleep, recovery, nutrition, stress, energy management, because that's what allows you to have more capacity over time. So you're not bubbling over your pain threshold as much. And then using movement from a resilience perspective, and obviously addressing the piece of pain that comes from compensations and weakness. And we've all experienced the inhibition of working around super painful parts of our bodies. And the reward for that is more pain, which is not fair. So I'm super passionate about helping patients, take back more of what's theirs and better understand what can they impact. And then once you have an understanding of pain, you can more appropriately outsource different pieces to therapists or specialists, right? Clinicians who you need more support from. So that's
best way to get a hold of you, Justine.
I am on Instagram at Resilient Warrior Coaching, and you can also go to my website www.resilientwarriorcoaching.llc.com. And you can reach out to me via email. Slide into my DMs, as the kids would say. I love talking, with patients, and I'm very dear friends with Matt too, and we've walked a similar path of finding purpose in our pain, and where I am now is very different than where I was. And I also, was one of those people who didn't think I'd be here at this point in my life because it was not worth it for a long time.
Wow.
But it can become worth it. It takes taken me 15 years if you take into account the TBI and then the CRPS. So yeah.
Thank you, Justine. Thank you.
There is hope. Yeah.
Ryan Farley, would love for you to share. We've got 60 seconds. We'd love to hear a little bit about your story and where you're at now.
So I got CRPS in my right foot about 10 years ago, and it completely took my life away from me at the time. I was in the process of starting a paving business. We had done like 2 jobs. I had nothing set up to support me. And over the years, I've spent about 5.5 of the last 10 years more or less bedbound. And I just kind of developed this perspective where, similar to what Justine was just saying, which I have had the pleasure to meet, and she is absolutely phenomenal when it comes to knowledge about CRPS. I really just kind of developed this perspective, like I can't just look for someone else to help me or someone else to save me. There's no magic pill. I've been through all these different medications. I've done ketamine, naltrexone, all sorts of different stuff. And over time, I just kind of developed this perspective of like, I would look for things that help me get like 1 to 5% better and then stack those. Today, I am an award-winning entrepreneur. I have built a business that is exactly what I want to be doing with my life. I'm on a 3 years now. As of last month, I've been on a completely anti-inflammatory diet, no alcohol, no caffeine, no sugars. It's extremely restrictive and it serves me incredibly well. My worst day, I probably experienced like 3% of what I experienced in the 7 years prior to this. And it's just been a absolute whirlwind getting here. But I have gotten to a point where like some days I even question, am I in remission? And then something really small will like sneak back up. But it's been a major journey to get here. And yeah, I really appreciate that this is happening tonight. It's great to hear from all of you. It's incredibly insightful.
Thank you so much, Ryan. So there's a young lady here I'm trying to get, I keep unmuting her and she keeps muting it back. She's on I'm unmuting you right now. I would love to have you share. Let me see, I keep unmuting her. Felice is a good friend of mine too as well. She doesn't have CRPS, but I'd love your take on what you've heard so far tonight, Felice.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great. First off, I want to express gratitude and love from my heart to everyone who's on this call, whether a patient, provider, healer, observer, because that is how we can change our experience at this pivotal point in humanity. I met Charles, and I was in his reverse documentary about diabetes. He's been a wonderful, he's been instrumental with my journey. Very quickly, I was diagnosed at the age of 11 with type 1 diabetes. I'm going to be 62 in a couple of weeks. I was told that I would live to be 45. I was also told that I would be blind. A couple of weeks ago, I went to a retina specialist to check my eyes because I was told I had end-stage retinopathy. And now my physician says that I don't even need to wear glasses in order to drive. And Charles, you don't even know this about me. I've had many NDEs, near-death experiences in my life from being a very young child. And I was also taught by my parents that I had no limitations and don't judge anything on outward appearances. When I was diagnosed at 11, I knew that I was not going to be defined by diabetes. And I call myself a professional odds defier because I have I should be croaked, for lack of a better term, for many times over. But through my experiences, I've been a nurse for over 35 years. I'm certified in diabetes education, which is laughable because I've lived with the disease my whole life. I've gone through everything that people have from the patient to the provider perspective, and I respect everyone's experience because that's what makes us unique. But my uniqueness comes in my divinity as a human being, a divine being. And divinity is the ability to transcend perceived expectations and limitations that we have. And I get that from Greg Braden. So, like right now, we're in such a pivotal point astrologically, uh, geophysically, uh, with seismic activity, with the innovations that are occurring now. It's such a dynamic time to be alive. And I say the sky is the limit. I refuse to accept that I'm going to be croaking anytime soon. I've defied so many things. It's a game to me now, but we all have it. When we maintain that connection with our heart over our mind, because our heart and mind work together, but the heart really is the place where healing resonates. away from us to other people. Just from right now, we're healing each other. We're healing people who don't even know this is going on, because the intention is coming from that beautiful part of us that comes from the deepest realms of who we are. It's the limitless, infinite ability that we have as this divine species with the ability to do things, to make changes. I did hospice. I cannot tell you how many of my patients had to be transferred back to home health when I did hospice, because they were able to tap into that. So my gift to this call is, first off, again, thank everyone. Charles, thank you so much, because you changed my life by meeting you. And I've been to the mountaintop and I've been to the valley. I've been in places where I didn't want to live anymore because I'd suffered so much. I've been through trauma. I've been through horrible hurricanes, losing loved ones, all of the things that we as human beings experience in this life experience. The gift is that I never, ever gave up, and that I allowed myself in divine timing to be brought into the awareness of the love that we all are in a different way. And I know this might sound esoteric, but it's real, because I don't have beliefs. I have knowing. Everything that I know from firsthand experience. I know that each and every person on this call is capable of seeing that beautiful component bloom into the person that we were designed to be, not to suffer, but we are evolving. And medicine and science and everything is changing. It's exciting. Now people know that brain cells, when I was in school, they said, oh, brain cells can't regenerate, but now they have mirror neurons and other things that are being discovered that are progressing from the work that all of these beautiful people, all of these experts and physicians and people who cared enough about other living beings to spread that love through their intense work. So thank you. And that's all I
Thank you,
want to
my
say
sister.
about me.
Thank you, my sister. I love you, sis. I love
I love you too. I love all of you. I
Thank
do.
you.
Love you. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's so inspiring. I just love it.
I also wanna thank Stefan too as well, because Stefan actually is a sponsor of Trial by Fire. So without his help and a few other people's helps, we wouldn't even be able to really put this project together. Megan, I've been trying to get you on this thing all night, and every time I click unmute, you press mute. So how are you, Megan? Would love to hear a little bit about your story. We got 30 seconds because we are two hours in, 2 hours and 7 minutes in. So we'd love to hear a little bit about your story.
Hey, so sorry about hitting the unmute button or the mute button, but I thought that was my job. So stay quiet. I finally figured it out though. Anyways, I've lived with this disease for my whole life. I didn't realize it until about the age of 19. And then things got worse, and it wasn't even CRPS, it was everything but that. And then the diagnosis came and was backdated. So now I know at 42, almost 43 years old, that my whole life I thought I had anxiety, depression, because of what the doctors had said, that they couldn't understand because I was a child and I couldn't verbalize it correctly as far as the pain I was having. I had Lyme's disease at, I believe I was 10. It was pretty severe. I got worse after that, constantly sick. And then thoracic outlet syndrome, bilateral. And that's what really amped up the flares and the pain and the disability. And then it turned into pretty much dying. It was constantly being in the hospital, dying of multiple random things that they didn't know what it was. And then I would come out of it and we didn't know. I tried the long infusions of ketamine. They were too much for me. They traumatized me. I still kept going. I tried it anyways. It didn't work. I was on every single pain medication, every single kind of psych med, anti-anxiety, lots of benzo for about 20 years. I finally gave up on the medical field and the doctors and just all of it. And no one knew about it. No one knew about thoracic outlet syndrome. No one knew about CRPS. And it was a nightmare. And I stopped all my meds, all my psych meds, which I was on a lot. I stopped all my pain meds. And I kind of, in a way, let go of all expectations. I held hope in myself and trying to find myself, but I lost hope in everything else and even in everyone else, because even the people closest to me that I love the most still question some things, or maybe you need to do this, maybe, and it's like I'm doing all of it. Anyways, so for 22 years it was awful, but scrambler therapy worked, and I do Spravato treatments weekly. And I will say those are my two miracle makers, and I didn't expect it to happen. And I feel blessed. So as far as hope, I have it tattooed on my body 3 different ways and all throughout my life. And I think it's because I have CRPS and I've held on to that hope. And that's what's gotten me to today, which is a miracle and something that I never expected to happen.
Thank you so much, Megan. We really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, Sanjita, some quick, you got 30 seconds, not 60, not 45. 30 seconds. I'd love for you to wrap up with some thoughts.
Gratitude. Gratitude for each and every one of you, for you, Charles. It's a revolution. It's a revolution because we've given our power away over hundreds of years to medical people and medical systems, when the power to turn on innate self-healing is our own. And so that's my 30 seconds. And we must never miss doing the basic things that allow us to do less ketamine, less this treatment and that treatment, which the basic things are the breathing, the social connection, the magnesium, fixing our chronic stress response and things like that. But mostly I'm really looking for this revolution. We're launching a revolution, Charles, because of you and all the people that are willing to get on this line and share. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So this is the first one on pain. We plan on doing another one very soon. We probably should have had about 300, 400 people on there, but we didn't share it live, unfortunately. I need Matt. Where's Matt? I need Matt to help me out going forward because I do not know anything about Zoom, but it was
I got you
fun.
covered.
So we didn't share it live on Instagram and other places, which I couldn't even turn on the mute thing. But I think the job was well done. As Sherry said, this I've been doing this for some time now, and it hasn't been easy. We definitely need everyone to share, to really be a voice. There's times when I post things and we don't really get the shares that we should or the likes that we should. So we want to make sure that we are creating that voice, because in dealing with, these big companies and these big brands, we have to let them say that there is a voice for them to make change, for them to look at CRPS and say, you know what, this is something that we really need to look into. So we've done a great job. We've had some people. I put up a post about people who wanted to be in the film, because obviously we don't really have, there isn't big companies that profit off of CRPS. So we did have people who have found a way to get some filming done. So if you still want to be in the film, definitely reach out by email and we could figure out a way to get that done. because we want to tell so many stories around the country. And we really, you know, every time I see my mother every week and see what she's gone through and what it's done for her, it allows me to say I have to keep fighting because it needs a voice. So please, let's share once we put this video up. Let's share and share and share and tag some friends. Let's cause, as we said, a revolution. Dr. Jenny, some last quick words. You got 20 seconds, not 25, 20.
Oh my, 20 seconds. Okay, so we talked about a whole lot, right? We talked about stress programming, everything from EMFs, airborne pollutants, particulates, toxins in food and water, overstimulation of sound and media, meditation, bioidentical hormones, stem cells, NIV drips, glutathione drips, exosomes. Did I miss anything? Do I need to go and create a whole entire
Put
I
your
got it. I got the
information.
whole, I got everything. And I think what an amazing collective souls we have here right now. We have the opportunity right now to really hold the torch for health and wellness, Charles, because you have been a dynamite in the medical community, really fighting for access for the medical community to have access to functional regenerative solutions outside of the allopathic world, right? That's just Band-Aids for boo-boos. I think it was Danielle that was talking about, you know, the ketamine, and she wants to get off of it. That's amazing. Wonderful to see a patient, a client, someone that says, I want to do something else. I don't want to be dependent on this Band-Aid for a boo-boo because it's not getting to the root cause and it's not making me better. She has to constantly keep going over and over and over and over to get those treatments every 2 months, I think she said it was. And that was very powerful because a lot of people feel like that. I felt like that. I suffered from pain, from migraines for many, many years. And even, you know, like osteopenia, osteoporosis, different, you know, endocrine issues just from having babies, right? And then realizing, oh my gosh, it's not just me that's going through this. There's a whole entire planet of people, children of God that are suffering, and intentionally that stress programming, right? From our waters to oxygen deprivation in our environment to tap water, music and brain frequency, chemtrails and air quality, the 5G and the EMFs, and then the frequency in the human nervous system, right? We really do live in a parasympathetic environment. Everything is meant to stress us out, and stress causes inflammation, and that inflammation has a plethora of a domino effect that, you know, happens. So what somebody is suffering with over here with their pain is going to be different from somebody else's because we're all going to be in a different environment as well. So thank you so much for having me, you know, Charles, and thank you everybody that joined in. Sangeeta, well, I love everybody that spoke so just from the heart. I want to say a little prayer. You know, may God keep you. May God shine his face on you. May God provide and expand your territories wherever you go. And may he use you for your strength and your words, right? To go out and spread wisdom and knowledge through faith, love, and hope. Hallelujah and amen.
Amen.
Thank
Amen.
you.
So
Amen.
thank you, everyone. It's been a pleasure. We will do another one soon. For those that we did miss, you'll get a chance to share your story too as well. If we didn't get to you, obviously, there was so much information to cover and so many people here. And the next one, we'll have it all figured out, and we'll keep doing some amazing things for CRPS. And and I'm proud of all of you, and thank you so much. And send me an email. My email is in the description if you need to reach me too as well. You can be anywhere in the world and be in the film. We'll give you some updates on how to make that happen. And let's share and share and share until the next summit that we do together.
Charles, can I ask Dr. Jenny one quick question?
Yes, feel free.
Dr. Jenny, where are you located?
I'm in the beautiful Sarasota, Florida. So on the West Coast, the beautiful Siesta Key Beach. It's a great place
Okay.
if you're
I
suffering
believe,
from pain,
I
right?
think you thought it was Danielle, but it was actually me you were referring to.
Alana,
Yeah.
yes. Hi,
No,
Alana.
that's okay. No, I was just wondering, what is your, just quickly, sorry, Charles, what is your field of expertise?
I have a vertically integrated wellness center. So I make functional regenerative medications like peptides, exosomes, stem cells, bioidentical hormones,
Okay.
vitamins,
So-
minerals, enzymes, but opposite of allopathic medicine. So all the functional stuff. So if big pharma creates folic acid, I make the folate or the 5-HTMF, right? If they're
Okay.
doing the synthetic versions of what God created, I'm doing the God version of it.
Okay, and so what's your best contact? Like, how can I get in contact with the
My
clinic?
best is probably email Dr. Jenny at agevitalwellness.com.
Jenny at agevital.com.
Age Vital Wellness.
Oh, yeah. So
Yeah.
you could probably,
Vital.
Alana, next time you come
And
down,
I'll put
Alana,
it
you
here.
probably can
That's
meet
what
up
I'm
with Dr.
saying. I'm
Jenny.
like, okay, I'm already here I might as well come to Sarasota, get a different view of Florida.
Let's do it. Don't threaten me with a good time.
Hey, I'll show you a good time, girl.
Oh, no. Oh, it's on now. You'll be getting my
Okay.
after 12 shots.
Okay, let's do this. So Jenny at AG Vital
Yeah,
Yep, I
Wellness.
put it
Okay.
in
yeah, it's the chat. So
the
Thank
chat.
you, Charles. I was gonna hit you up later if I couldn't get it on the
please
second
feel
one.
free.
I'm still on ketamine. Like, I did ketamine all this week, so my brain's not functioning at 100%.
And last, we got to say a big thanks to Brian Pope too as well from the Cochran law firm. He's also helped
Yes.
us move things forward, and he is a CRPS lawyer. So he helps
And
people.
Charles, I just want to thank you because I was around with your first video and it made a huge impact on everybody. And I'm so proud to be a part of your second video.
Thank
I
you.
know like you have such a diverse now of like things that you're treating and people you are helping. We are so lucky to have someone like you to put this platform for us together
Thank you.
to share and to educate us and everybody else because it is just, it's still hard. It's still hard for us, for people that are suffering from CRPS and other sicknesses that come with it. We're still getting judged if we go to the doctors or hospitals or everything. And you just shining a light through your films and your platforms and your docuseries, like you are a needle in a haystack. And
Thank
God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Like I said, every time I see my mother, because if you saw the first film, from where she was then and where she's at now, it's two different places. Unfortunately, some of the treatments and some of the support that you guys have right now, she didn't really benefit from. So she's pretty much bedridden. You saw the first film, she was at least walking around and doing some therapy stuff. And so it's this CRPS has truly taken her life. She still has a smile, but she can't move her legs, can't move her upper body and things like that. And so CRPS has done a job on her. That's one of the reasons, once again, why I keep fighting for you guys, because it's a personal thing. So thank you, everyone, and let's share when this comes out. Reach out to all these amazing experts and doctors, and let's keep pushing this forward. Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Thank you, Charles. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, y'all, I am back. Well, that is the end of the summit. And I hope you guys learned a lot from the summit. To me, it was very interesting as someone who has chronic pain, who has lived with it for a number of years. It's definitely been helpful. And I have also changed my diet due to holistic, living. But I will say this. When it comes down to making decisions for your health and wellness and your overall healing and recovery, understand that you have to do and stay with it. You just can't do it till you lose the weight or overcome cancer. You got to stick with it. It's not going to be easy, but it's important that you stick with it. And when you stick with it, it's going to be worth it because you'll get to see the end results of it all and you'll get to maintain it. So losing weight is very easy. That's one thing, but maintaining the weight loss, maintaining being healthy, that's something that's easier said than done. Like tonight, I'm about to start in a few minutes. I'm cleaning out my house and getting rid of all of the things that are not serving me and keeping the things that do. I'm getting ready to cut up some I'm getting ready to peel some potatoes and chop up some potatoes and getting ready to do that. But like I said, these journeys are not easy. They're not. Everybody thinks they are easy, but they're not. But in the end, if you're really about your health and wellness, then you'll do whatever it's going to take to remain healthy. And in the world that we live in, it's hard, in all honesty, to be who you are and be healthy and being able to be successful without somebody trying to tear you down. That's the bad and the hard part about it. And, I'm glad that I was able to do this for my friend, Charles, and to be able to post the whole entire um, podcast, the summit. So I just thought it was something that I wanted to do. And like I said, being that I'm a healing and recovery coach and getting into that, I'm learning so much. So when I started seeing clients and I start, helping people, I'm not looking at you as everybody else. I'm looking at you as you. Because in the end, you are an individual. You came into this world by yourself. You're going to leave this world by yourself. So you have to learn what works for you based on you, not based on everybody else. Not everybody can wear makeup. Not everybody's going to be in relationships at the same time. Not everybody's going to be happy. There are going to be people that's going to be lonely and going to be alone. And that's just it on that. We're going to have those type of things go on. So like today, I am, cleaning up. Then tomorrow, I probably will be cutting up a bunch of stuff, getting prepped for, getting ready to make some dishes and stuff. So I figured it'll be easier just to cut everything up. Cut all my onions, my tomatoes, and all of those things and start doing those. But again, we all have our different journeys, and wherever they take us, is where we're going to go. So don't let, the world make you feel less than because you don't fit it. Sometimes we're not supposed to fit society standards. We're not supposed to be of the world. We're supposed to be of godly people, and that's just something that's important. I just think for chronic pain, it is about inflammation. It is about glucose, and it's all about your blood pressure and stress and, but this world makes it difficult, and we can't sit there and act like it don't. We can't make it seem like when we go to the doctor, the first thing they want to do is give us medications. The first thing they want to do is give us these temporary treatments that, in the end don't work. So in the end, holistic treatment, holistic healing, that's something I'm getting into now. I lost 21 pounds and counting. So I'm really excited at what this new version of me is going to look like. And now that I'm losing weight naturally, now it's time to start working out. And the weight's going to come off really, really quickly because I started off with spiritually, then mentally, then psychologically, then emotionally. Now I'm working on my physical because my financial and my relationships are good. So that's what's important. So that's why I decided to do these podcasts separately. But I'm hoping that all of my podcasts will benefit from not only this particular episode, but the one I did with Sophia as well. So I'm really excited about, you guys hearing these podcasts and these next conversations. So I have one that's coming up this week. I don't know what day yet, but I'm excited about that one because we'll be talking about police brutality for my African melanin queen. So with that being said, I thank you guys for joining me for this episode. I'm your host, Goddess Asha Mariama. Until next time, we'll talk later. Bye, y'all.